What I'm trying to say in the final analysis, once we take control of ourselves, we have to stop being imitators and be innovators. And realize we've got a continent 12 million square miles. Wherever our bodies are on the face of this earth, our cultural and political heartbeat is in Africa. Whether you ever go to Africa or not, that is your home, that is the home of your spirit, and that is the heart and meaning and definition of your commitment. And none of us, any place in the world, will be free until that continent is free.
The Mossi Warrior Clan was created because myself and others like Brother Nahisi saw a need for a young African group to analyze information concerning the African phenomena with no bias, with rigor, and with scholarship. We created the Mossi Warrior Clan for the purpose of being an expert research team, of being a team that produced products, a team that was capable of producing products for African people globally to dispel myths, rumors, and provide them with accurate scholarship.
Peace, everybody. It's your boy Sean P in the place to be, man. Like the show, share the show. Tell a friend, we live. I'm gonna buy a little bit of time and I'm gonna get straight to it. So the other day when I went live, I sent Craig the link to a show, Classic Craig. I ain't mean to send it to him. I guess when I was going down, it sent it to him anyway. I guess he'd try to call me like right behind that. I never talked to him. There's nothing to talk about. So I ain't even reply back. However, I sent him the link to this show. I did that, both Craigs. And the reason for that is because I guess during a little late night bill the other day, he still had something to say and had my name in his mouth. And then he wanted to project his feelings onto me and where he think I stand as it pertains to my position with my worldview being centered around Garveyism. Everybody who know me and that has been following the evolution of me since 2015 knows that I ain't been nothing but a John Henry Clarkite. I have supported Garvey. I have supported Du Bois. I have supported Booker T. Washington and every other leader that has come before and fought for the hearts and minds of African Americans in the Americas and throughout the diaspora. I haven't settled on one side or the other. I argued with a Garveyite because I was posting things about souls of black folks, and the Garveyite had criticism in regard to W.B. Du Bois and all of these other things. It didn't matter to me. I don't care. I drew the line. Once the government got involved, I drew the line between whatever quarrels that any of these leaders at that time, or these educators, or these prominent men in their times, when they had took up an issue and it got different. Because I knew Playbook 101 is to conquer and divide. The easiest way to do that is to pick one of them and then go with the flow, and then get one of them to come and say something about the other. It never fails. You want to ruin leadership, that's what you do. So DMG, you have two people that's in control of your channel over there. Both of them got the same name. Their name is Craig. You got one from Memphis, and I don't know what a little bony ass nigga from. They got so much to say. The one in Memphis, I already knew that I'd get in my car and drive 3 hours and pull up in Memphis if it's really in the smoke. Because I done already did that already. The other little dude, I don't know where he at, but I don't have no problem traveling. You know what I'm saying? I got my real ID. I'm a TSA member. I can get right on through the airport. I have no problem with a $200-300 ticket. But what I'm not going to allow people to do is, if it's going to be the internet, I got over 6+ years, more than 6, but 6+ years of content between this channel, Science with Sean, and Kofi Pie-Side Research Team that you can take issue with and argue against it, and even books that have been published. So whatever it is that you think that I am incorrect about, oh, wait a minute, it ain't none of that. So whatever your issue is, you can bring it to the floor of the motherfucking community. However you want to do it. Face to face, or however you want to do it. But you're not going to sit on a panel. Hold on. 1 second.
Yeah, it wasn't. I know his name is Mossi Warrior Clan, whatever it is. But I know it's the people. Sometimes I burst and I look. But my point is, the yellow man that was up here talking this shit, like,
Yellow man
does not understand the point of argument. He has a Garveyite view of things, which is limited, perverted, and an issue.
You said limited and averted. You don't know what position I hold. How the fuck are you sitting there on a panel with other grown men talking about a position you ain't never had a conversation with me about? You don't know what position I hold, bro, as it comes to what you would think would be leadership and forward thinking or worldview. You don't know who influences the way that I see the world. It damn sure ain't Garvey. Nothing against Garvey, but it's not Garvey. It's not W.E.B. Du Bois. It's not none of them. It will and always will be Dr. John Henry Clark. I don't look for or to seek guidance, education, or forethought from anyone outside of John Henry Clark and my team and people that I know that are sound in scholarship and provide great evidence and can build those bridges to answering research questions and diffusing issues in the community. I don't go outside of that because it's too much ignorance outside of it. So I stay within the confines of organized education as it pertains to Black people and our struggle and plight in the Americas and that throughout the diaspora. Don't call me something you've never had a conversation with me about. You've never heard me lecture about. You've never seen me teach about or present information about. You never have. And then called it limited because I wouldn't allow you to minimize Africa and then try to prop up, quote unquote, African American and all this old other bullshit that you was trying to insinuate. I wouldn't allow you to disconnect Africa, the influence, and the shit that we put together, the buildings that have been bridged, the diversity that is explained throughout, the struggle that our ancestors endured and came from, the right to Pan-Africanism, the bloodshed behind that shit. What up, Chill? I see you in the chat. Melanated Goddess was good. Monogator was good with you. Too Smooth, Peace Pure. What's going on? Teddy Thurman. What's good? Everybody. I see Green Corn is in the building throwing corn at the haters. I'm here. I don't run nowhere. You ain't got to worry about seeing me over there no more. I reviewed y'all content for the people and to get people to come over there and mess with your content. Shared your shows to people in their chats and the whole 9 yards. So this ain't no hating or none of that crazy shit. Because, like I said, I'm about furthering things. Do I agree with everybody that come on there and debate? Or do I think that is acceptable debate? No. Because some of the subject matters are circular. And it seems like as all people doing is circular arguments. They're not even upgrading their information to the latest information that has disproven the shit that's being argued. But it's people like Little Craig that influences the ignorance in these people who seem to think that they ain't even African in origin, or they want to cut ties with Africa and say, I'm an American. I ain't got nothing to do with Africa. Africa don't fuck with me. You know the Cameron shit that we heard last year. And all the other rappers that were saying some stupid ass shit. All of that comes from stupidity, ignorance. What up, EIE? It comes from that. So what up, Keenan? You really need to understand who you're talking to. Don't superimpose your worldview on me or what you think. You ask me what I think, and I'll tell you my position, and then you grow from what the fuck I said. You don't do nothing else but what I tell you about me. Then when you go making up stuff and running your mouth and acting like a little bitch, I'm gonna call you out on it. You doing what the elbows do. I ain't here for no motherfucking kumbaya utopia type shit. That'll never be. We ain't supposed to all just get along for the sake of getting along. Even though we share a same experience in the Americas. It's not gonna be like that. What it can be like is, am I willing to work with you or beside you on certain issues and still know where our differences are? Absolutely. But I don't call you names. I didn't call you ignorant, dumb, stupid, or none of that. So you motherfucking was emotional. Yellow man. That's what you call me. This yellow man will fuck your woman in front of you and make you sit there and be sick at the stomach when I walk away. I'm disrespectful like that. And she'll enjoy it. Guarantee you. So don't talk crazy, bro. Don't call me out my name, bro. I ain't do none of that to you. You had your little, whatever you was doing over there, exercising your ignorance, trying to gaslight other people, I guess, to come for me. How about you do it? Put your big boy pants on. You know how much content I got. Do you want me to show you the messages where you were begging me to do an interview for your fucking channel? I could do that. I could do that for sure. Because you wanted to talk about the books, you wanted to talk about the elbows, you want to talk about this and that. Okay, cool, no problem. But because you're in your feelings about whatever it is that you're in your feelings about, still, they don't give you no right to try to call me out my name, bro. I ain't never disrespect you. Now, the disrespect coming today, but I ain't never disrespect you. So, I'm waiting on you to show up. I bet you won't. Hold on, I'm reading somebody's comment. Foundational Black Britons. Okay, I'll check that out, Tony. You might be listening. I'll check that out, Tony. It'll take me a minute, but I'm going to have to, you know what I mean? I will get to it. So here's the problem with people that, and Craig is new. He ain't been in the community long enough to even really know. Now, Ratchet Craig is different. Ratchet Craig been around. That's why when I make valid points, Ratchet Craig will bow out, or he'll try to change the subject, or he'll chime in. But this other Craig is at least 4 or 5 years into this, and he ain't got a fucking clue at all. But I don't be pissing on people. I don't be pissing on people that I know trying to liberate the hearts and minds of our people. I don't do that. I only piss on the people who deserve to be pissed on. And everybody know who they are. I ain't got to keep saying they shit. Everybody know who I'm gonna piss on. Because they're blatantly wrong. They're blatantly doing this shit with intention. They're blatantly suffocating the community with bullshit. I'm going to attack them. I am going to push back on the ignorance. So you better just mind your motherfucking business and stick to hosting and judging DMG's debates. Because I ain't said nothing to y'all after that. And I didn't say nothing after that fact. I left it where it was. And I wasn't disrespectful. But then you go and you get disrespectful. That's bullshit. So this little yellow motherfucker that you talking about, that you trying to push your ideology off on me because you can't comprehend that you're slow and you don't know the actual history about people in the Americas, don't superimpose your ignorance on me because you're limited. So give me a second. Let me pull this work up. There we go. Let me share my screen. Share my motherfucking screen, bro. So this book is called Becoming American, The African American Journey. And I want to share a few things with y'all. And to make sure y'all can see this. But please hit the like button. Hit the like button for me. One time for the one time, for the one two times, for the one two times. Thank you. This is a timeline of the African American and global and Africa diaspora history. It starts off where? In Africa. 4 to 2.7 million years ago, BCE, hominid species Australopithecus africanus lives in Hadar region of Ethiopia, including Lucy. 1.5 million years ago, Homo erectus leaves Africa to populate parts of the world, 200 to 100,000 BCE. I ain't got to run down all that right there. We know this information. It goes on from talking about the early hominids and how they populated to going into ancient Kemet after the Khoi and all of that. All this history right here, even though there's history inside this, but all that history in there before the birth of Jesus. All of this is going on hundreds of thousands and millions of years before the birth of Jesus. West Africa will flourish. You got Ghana. You got other West African countries doing their thing. Then you got these people, the slave trade of the Slavs. Where Yodi at? That was in 400 AD. 500 to 1400. Middle Ages. Slave trade with the Slavs. Whites from all over Europe and to the lesser extent. Yeah, going through all of that. This book hides nothing. Nothing. It walks us through everywhere. Let me get off of this real quick. Let me get to where I want to go. Because there's something that is very important about our presence in certain places. Look at that. Africans in colonial America. 1525, Black Portuguese navigator Esteban Gomez sails into the bay discovered by Italian Giovanni Verrazzano, previous year, later renamed the Hudson River after the English explorer Henry Hudson, who arrived in 1609. 1526, the first enslaved Africans in continental North America arrived in South Carolina, Georgia region. Within a few months, they run away. Look in between that. King Alfonso sends a formal protest Portugal regarding the devastation caused by the slave trade. 1527, slave insurrections in Puerto Rico and Mexico. 29, slaves set fire to Santa Marta. 1530, practice Christianizing slaves in Europe, ending with large enslaved and free populations remaining in Lisbon, Seville, Granada, and Sicily. 1530, Portuguese colonized Brazil. We just keeping it. We just keeping it a buck. We just keeping it a buck. No, I'm going at Craig and them. Both Craigs on DMG platform. That's what I'm going at. But while I'm doing it, I'm showing the presence of history and how much history is lost and how much history motherfuckers try to push away to claim some shit. That's why the book is called Becoming American, the African American Journey. Before we could ever become an American, we got to know who the fuck we are, where we come from. Why do we want to be American? That's part of our story, yes. Which part? A more recent part. And I ain't pissing away the shit that we've endured. This all in the 1500s. All this shit centered around fucking us. Look at that. 1542. The Spanish crown outlaws enslavement of Native Americans, resulting in intensification of African slave trade. Goes on. Look at that. Silver mines in Zacatecas, Mexico, mined by enslaved Africans. We got that in 1548. Free and enslaved black artisans in Peru manufacture swords, lances, and rosaries. We got that. 1549, slave labour, Tomé de Souza finds El Salvador, Brazil. Slave insurrections in Peru and Nicaragua. We handling business. Look at this quote. It is no excuse to say that they sell one another, for he who buys what is badly sold is still guilty. Because if there were no buyers, there would be no bad sellers, nor thieves to steal for sale. Notice how the people that always got something to say about me, they never show up. They never show up. They want to remain in a controlled environment where they can push their narrative. See, before I joined that panel the second time, you was getting smart and getting outside yourself and talking real reckless, and I was just letting you have it because it was your show, your panel, and I already knew that Ratchet Craig was going to back you up to protect you in some light of fashion. But then I got up there anyway, and then I shot off on you, but I never called you out your name. I really shot off on your mans, the one that you was thumping for, who you actually said won the debate but didn't win the debate. And how the fuck could he win a debate without showing a source against Pandemus? Crazy work. Needless to say. True historian in the building. You got the French Huguenots established short-lived colony in Port Royal, South Carolina. You have all of this history happening with the with the Africans in the centerpiece of it all. I'm just showing the timeline. I ain't going too crazy with it. It ain't being too specific because there's pieces inside of it. If our black face, O king, is displeasing to your ministers, the white face is not pleasing to the men of Ethiopia. Shots fired. We going somewhere. Y'all, yes, you seen me show like free black people way back when they was coming. Yes, everybody wasn't enslaved, but that free black population was real small. It wasn't just real big. All this history right here. All of this history, and then it starts unraveling when America begins to build itself up. What do I mean by that? The Dutch ship brings 20 enslaved Africans to Jamestown. This is where the first Africans that touched the North American soil that was brought there intentionally, not the 1526 story, which we just went over. But this is the beginning because now it's colonial. It's the first colonial assembly. It's significant now. They're staking claim to these colonies and they're beginning to build from the shores as far back as they can to the to certain mountain regions and areas and getting rid of these Indians in a sense. The Dutch found New Netherland in North America. The first known African child was born free in English colonies. William Tucker, baptized in Virginia. Enslaved Africans arrived in New Amsterdam, Manhattan, with Dutch West India Company and become city's first municipal labor force, clearing timber, cutting lumber, cultivating farmland, and constructing roads and fortification. You tried to superimpose a worldview on me that I don't even subscribe to without even just asking me. The audacity of you. The first black twins was born in New York. This mug always got a jewel in his back pocket. 1625, French and enslaved Africans settled in the Antilles and Canyon. The colony founded on Barbados using labor of enslaved Africans. That's shots fired to, you already know, Dots over there with OTK now. See, when we start breaking down the actual history and the presence of our people in the early 1600s, we see nothing but that African presence in the 1600s. That means them black people that they keep on saying they've been here ain't even arrived yet. I'm killing two birds with one stone. This is why John Henry Clark is who I uphold, because he stayed on the path of history. He told you that history had a timeline. Stick to the timeline. Don't deviate from the timeline. Provide the evidence for the accounts which matter the most. Don't do the dumb stuff. What other people do. Teach people the right way. Don't superimpose on them. Don't make them think that it's this and that and it ain't this and that. John Henry Clark and them never heard of an Abo. They never heard of a black person trying to call themselves a Native American. Ever in life. How about that? Never, ever, 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 ever have they. And the audacity of you guys to sit here and say the things that y'all say. Look, I ain't even in recent history. I can just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and the timeline is always going to find our black behinds in it. No matter what's going on, the timeline is going to always find us in it. And that's what I keep trying to tell y'all, man. I keep trying to tell y'all that. Watch this. Hold on. Let me get on down. Let me get closer. Right? Let me get closer. Let me get away from all the slave trade and all the important stuff that was happening on both continents involving black people and the way the Constitution was being reshaped and formed and how people were trying to create these laws against black people. Let me skip a lot of that. Let me skip that stuff. It don't matter to y'all, right? It don't matter to some of y'all, do it. Look at that. U.S. outlaws transatlantic slave trade, but then you have an illegal slave trade period going on. We ain't got to make up none of this stuff. We just stick to the evidence. We ain't got to make it up. Stick to it. Don't let them lie. Hold them to the fire. That's it. Just hold them to the fire. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Slowing up. Hmm. All right. Look at this. Let me show y'all this. I'm going to get it in. Right here. 1845, Macon B. Allen becomes the first African American admitted to the bar and begins practicing law in Massachusetts. Frederick Douglass, elected president of New England Anti-Slavery Society and begins publishing newspapers, the North Star in Rochester. Harriet Tubman escapes slavery in Maryland and begins career as conductor on the Underground Railroad in 1849. The U.S. African American population reaches 3.6 million in 1850, ladies and gentlemen. The Fugitive Slave Act goes into effect. Lo and behold. Lo and behold. I mean, but what we got going on here? Slavery ends in Ecuador. Afrikaners in a traversal permitted to manage their own affairs. Craziness. And y'all sit here and y'all act all like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all sit here and act like y'all about it, man. Y'all ain't about it, man. But y'all over there debating all these different topics, running off at y'all, yep, and then you want to come talk crazy to a player who over here doing this. Hold on. Let me get to it. Let my screen load up. Here we go. This Danny's favorite part right here, y'all. Creating a new Negro. Danny's favorite part right here. Y'all heard Danny say this before. He told y'all a long time ago about the new Negro. He did. Y'all wasn't listening to him. Y'all wasn't listening to him when he was teaching the shit, man. Y'all just kept on just avoiding the information, not dealing with the facts. 1866, Fisk University, founded in Nashville, Tennessee. Reconstruction Congress overrides Andrew Johnson's veto and enacts the Civil Rights Act of 1866. 1866, Congress approves the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. What are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? At the end of the day, what are we doing? I mean, I'm just trying to figure it out. What are we doing? So you want me to throw the African presence away from African American history and focus on being some damn American, and then be like, forget all this other stuff. You got a short sight or a short work. You want me to forget all of this shit? Our existence is on 2 continents. Our history is there like no other. It ain't no other people on this planet that has endured what our ancestors have endured and what we continue to go through or deal with. We got a whole group of people denouncing all this history, since documentation has been afforded to all of us. And then do that. This is what I'm about. I'm not about some weird ass ideology that you want to superimpose on people. That ain't even me. That ain't even what I do. So I don't know where y'all get off at trying to hinder or limit me to some bullshit that I ain't got nothing to deal with. I don't have nothing to deal with none of that. So don't superimpose that shit on me, bro. I don't care nothing about none of that. At all. And Voss, I hope you got any message. Don't make them say it again, bro. It's gonna be some smoke. Look at this. Spanish-American War. What happened? What happened during the Spanish-American War? All black U.S. 9th and 10th Cavalry units make possible Teddy Roosevelt's famous charge of San Juan Hill in Cuba. So without the African Americans, he don't get the progress. They just say blacks in America. They didn't leave out the Africanness in us. We the only ones trying to leave that shit out. The audacity. Let me get on up here. Here we go. W.B. Du Bois publishes The Souls of Black Folk. The problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line. In Panama, thousands of black workers from surrounding nations and the Caribbean arrive in Canal Zone to begin construction of the canal. In 1903, the African-American Maggie Lene Walker becomes the first woman president of a local bank, founding St. Luke Penny Savings Bank in Richmond, Virginia. Big up, Virginia. What we on? What we talking about right now, right? We ain't got to make up nothing, man. We know exactly who we are. We ain't got to make up nothing. The Chicago Defender begins publishing a champion of African American rights. The Mahi Mahi revolt against German colonialism erupts in Tanzania. Mark Twain supports first international human rights movement of the 20th century mobilized to end murderous reign of Leopold II in the Congo. Y'all know what he was doing. Cutting motherfuckers' hands off and shit. All over some rubber. Trying to run his monopoly. You want me to give up all of that, negate all of that, exit that history right there to appease you because you want to be, I don't know what the hell you want to be, but then you want to minimize what everybody else got going on. You want to just belittle everybody else's position for your own, right? Like you the only one with shit going on around this bitch. Nobody else got nothing going on. Like all this stuff that's in front of us don't make us who we are in this struggle for our identity. It ain't that big of a deal, right? Short-sighted. Whatever you say, I play the video. I play the sound again. You had plenty to say, Lil Craig. I'm right here. I don't go nowhere. I stick to the facts, evidence, things we can prove. I don't care nothing about your feelings, emotions, or what you believe. Leave that shit out of the conversation. Keep that up with the Hebrews and the Moors and all them motherfuckers y'all love to argue with. I don't get down like that. And that's just a straight up fact. And I said what I said. Stand on how I stand on it. And you ain't gonna do nothing. Sit behind your laptop and hide your hands. That's all you gonna do. Cow it out. I know you are. You ain't really about that life. You ain't about that life, bro. You want people to believe that. Union of South Africa formed, uniting British colonies of Cape and NATO of Boer republics of Transversal. All of this is happening simultaneously while we're both fighting for the existence and the right to unify all Africans in this struggle against the rest of the world. Just get up, huh? We don't need to be, we need to focus on ourselves. They ain't focused on us, right? Ain't that what you be saying? They ain't focused on us. We need to focus on ourselves. Ain't that dumb shit y'all be saying, bro? Not y'all, you. I mean, I'm just trying to know. Hold on, let me get to scrolling. Look at that. They even got Noble Drew Ali in here. African American inventor Gary Morgan patents gas mask. Marcus Garvey, here we go. Founds Universal Negro Improvement Association, Conversation Association, and African Communities League in Kingston, Jamaica. Jack Johnson wins 20-round referee's decision over Frank Moran in Paris to retain his heavyweight title. U.S. invades Haiti. In 1915, U.S. invades Haiti. I mean, man, I'm just trying to know what type of time we on, bro. That's what I want to know. In 1915, the same year that the U.S. invades Haiti, the Ku Klux Klan revived in Atlanta, Georgia. By 1919, it spread to 27 states. In that same 1915, Carter G. Woodson founds Association of the Study of Negro Life and History. That was a busy time. In 1916, the first issue of Journal of Negro History, edited by Carter G. Woodson, is published. In 1916, American Tennis Association created to promote tennis among African Americans. Yep. Then you got the war. You got 10,000 African American non-combat soldiers are last U.S. troops to leave where? France. I mean, we just trying to know what's going on with y'all out here in these streets, man. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all be sitting here saying all these things, and then when we try to get to the get to, we can't get to the get to. We can't at all. So let me get on down here a little bit more. Back to Marcus Garvey. In 1920, Garvey holds first International Convention of Negro Peoples of the World at Madison Square Garden, New York City. See, this history is ours. It ain't no separating it. The only time that this shit becomes unraveled for us in America is when the government gets involved. Had we had the wherewithal to understand what they were trying to do between all these leaders that they were putting against one another, we would have been able to resolve a lot of issues, just like they were trying to put Malcolm X and Martin Luther King against each other. It's been the same playbook since early man. I don't understand how none of y'all don't even get the fact, and then y'all run around here and try to play stupid. And I'm not talking to people in the chat. Of course, the people in the chat know that I'm not talking about them, but the people who know I'm talking about them know that I'm talking about them. And it's crazy to see. Yes, it's crazy to see. Leo Hansberry, Howard University offers first African Studies course at American University. You want to trade all of that away to focus on something when these people were fighting for our existence to even speak and teach about these fucking subject matters? They wasn't going there to talk about black separatism or just the blacks in America. They wasn't on none of that. They've been doing this, bro. We're hyphenated individuals. The American Negro must remake his past in order to make his future. Wonder where they got that from. Oh, no worries. Arthur Schomburg. How do we know this shit? Because Danny in the chat. So you better know that the quote comes from goddamn Arthur Schomburg. Because my son even did a project. I mean, a research project on it for Black History Month when he was fucking in the 4th or 5th grade. Who inspired John Henry Clark? Anybody know? Anybody know who's responsible for inspiring John Henry Clark? Who made him pack up his shit in Georgia and go all the way to New York and be a part of the whole Harlem Renaissance movement, which was an elevating movement among a bunch of people? Who did it? It was Schomburg. Schomburg's influence was crazy. Straight like that. At the end of the day. Let's keep it going. Marcus Garvey was finally deported in 27. Elijah Muhammad shows up on the scene. Oh boy. Elijah Muhammad. What I'm saying is, bro, there's a long list of history that exists within it, and it's still going. It's ongoing. We're doing things that people never thought that we would do. We shouldn't have endured as long as we've endured. You want us to say, fuck that. We just need to focus on X, Y, and Z, and then you don't have a real solution, and you mad because I won't let you get rid of Africa. Craig, you mad because I won't let you get rid of Africa, bro. Notice not one thing on this timeline is talking about Aboriginals claiming some bullshit. Ain't nobody on here claiming to be Native Americans. I'm sorry to say it, but there's nobody on here claiming to be Native Americans. Not a one. Crazy. Abos have no presence in early America. They ain't got no presence until 2017. Why is that? Why the Abos ain't got no presence until 2017? That's wild. That's wild that the Abos ain't got a presence until 2017, bro. That's like crazy work. Look at all of this history. Watch this. In 1949, the African American Ralph Bunche. What happened with Ralph? What happened? Watch what he did right here. Named the United Nations chief mediator after assassination of Bernadotte brokers armistice between Israel and 5 Arab states. Word AM, first black-owned radio station, begins broadcasting from Atlanta. Let's give all that up. Let's just focus on whatever we want to just focus on because we want to just focus on that. I get it. Okay. All right. Let me get out of this chapter because all it is history, and you're gonna see both sides of the aisle. You're gonna continue to see both sides of the aisle, no matter what, coming up into present day. They're gonna show some shit going on in America, and they're gonna show in this timeline, they're gonna show shit going on in Africa. Then they're gonna show shit going on with black people in the Caribbeans. Notice the reason that I'm even showing this timeline is because no matter what, wherever the presence of people of African descent is, they're showing it. The only place that you're not seeing on here is fucking Europe. Now you can go figure out why that is. But as far as the diaspora and then certain events that are occurring on the continent, and what I mean by the diaspora over here in the West, right? This shit's heavily represented here. And it continues to be, and it's in all sides. I'm telling you, everywhere Africans are in the West, if it was historic, it shows up here. Period. You can't get around it. I don't care what you say. Can't get around it. Look at that. It's going to keep going. Now, I would make the book available, but I really need to get to my point. I really wanted the Craigs to show up. I was trying to buy time, but it looked like no matter how much time I buy, they ain't going to show up. Neither one of them. I don't care if DMG is interviewing somebody. You don't know my position. Don't talk about it without consulting me. Ask me first before you start insinuating or assuming shit. This world don't go by your expectations of it. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Key texts, literary works. What y'all think this is about? The Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. Oh, wow. Unanimous declaration of 13 United States of America. When the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate equal stations of which laws of nature's God entitled. Man, I don't get it, bro. What's y'all problem with me, bro? Beating up elbows and stupid people that want to detach Africa from the African American experience. Statement from the meetings of New York Negroes. A black mass meeting was held in 1831 to protest the recently organized American Colonization Society's initiative to send free blacks to Africa. We do not believe that things will always continue the same. The time must come when the Declaration of Independence will be will be felt in the hearts as well as uttered from the mouth, and when the rights of all shall be properly acknowledged and appreciated. God hasn't the time. This is our home and this is our country. Beneath its sod lie the bones of our fathers for it. Some of them fought, bled, and died. Here we're born and here we'll die. That's how y'all feel, right? Some of y'all, that's how y'all feel. Other important papers, the Emancipation Proclamation. Just going down a few. Hold on, let me do this in the chat. I got a bunch of sources in the description. You know they weak. Who you talking about? Who weak? You talking about the Craigs? Yeah. They only loud elsewhere. Exactly. They do want feelings over facts. A lot of them. The Elbows and the Craigs. But I don't get down like that because I don't care nothing about the feelings. The feelings mean very little to me. Very, 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 very little to me. Hold on, let me get to some more important documents. Hold up, y'all. The petition to Congress of National Equal Rights League, Cleveland, Ohio. There you go, Cleveland. The National Equal Rights League grew out of the Syracuse National Negro Convention in 1864 to advocate for the rights of Black people through appeals to concise and via legal processes. The petition from the Cleveland meeting in 1865 called for the constitutional amendment barring all Jim Crow legislation. Crazy. Crazy how it worked on it. You see people in all 50 states fighting against one common enemy, and everybody don't know each other, but they have a common goal, and it's all about us. And it's all about saving, repairing, and restoring our existence here in the Americas and our plights, fighting against laws that fucking prohibit us from moving forward. And yet we have these new age Negroes who don't even see the benefit of what's transpiring during this little small display of what the fuck transpired throughout history. You want me to throw it away, and I shall not. You want me to say, nah, we ain't got to focus on Africa. Forget Africa. It ain't got nothing to do with none of this stuff. Yeah, let's just all go back. Nope, I ain't even on that type of time. Because I know some people are just too afraid to pick up and leave and then go on about certain things they got going on. And I get it. Look at that. Harper's Weekly. What that black man doing? Casting his vote. So, yo, Honey Claw, hit the link real quick. I need you just for a second. If you got time. If not, I understand. It's cool. You ain't got to do nothing. But yeah, I just needed you for a hot minute if you're still in the chat. What you clapping for? Yeah, they indigenous to their keyboard for sure. They still ain't showing up. One of y'all can join. Shit, it don't matter. Shit, you who I see first. I need one of y'all to hit that panel link. It could be melanated. Shit, she teach kindergarten. She'd be perfect for this exercise. Three Reconstruction amendments ratified between 1865 and 70 opened the door to full citizenship for African Americans. So do y'all recall where they were always arguing and talking about that the Reconstruction era is when they reconstructed history and changed shit and then started making people identify differently and this, that, and the third. Lo and behold, they really never understood what Reconstruction was about. Just something so simple where there were three Reconstruction amendments which ratified between 65 and 70 of 1800s opened the door for citizenship for African Americans. That means we gained citizenship during the Reconstruction era. Is that negative? I mean, somebody got to help me out. Is that negative? Like, bro, like for real. What's so negative about that? What kind of negative impact is that? The 13th abolished slavery. The 14th guaranteed citizenship. The 15th giving black men the right to vote. All of this was a part of the Reconstruction Act. The Reconstruction era. The promise of the 15th Amendment was not fully realized until almost a century later after its ratification in 1870. Southern states employed poll taxes, literacy tests, and other measures to effectively disenfranchise African Americans. The majority of the African Americans in the South were not registered to vote until the pass of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Here you go. You're right on time. This fake ass. That damn background came from Zoom.
Came from StreamYard. They ain't got my Barbie loaded one up for whatever reason.
Oh, okay. Well, you're tripping. So I need you to do me a favor real quick. These 3 excerpts, can you please read them real quick? Your mic don't work? We can't hear you, bro.
1 second.
Oh, okay. Dang, y'all. Thought we had action.
Okay. I'm sorry. I had to put my headphones on.
Oh, okay. Whatever that means. Because I don't know what that means.
I couldn't hear you.
You can't.
Computer, but I didn't realize it. So go ahead now.
All right, so you ready? I need you to read the 3 excerpts.
Okay. Excerpt of 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Yep. Just these 3. They small.
Slavery ratified 1865. I gotta make this screen bigger. Section 1.
Hold on. Is that better? Nope, that's too big.
That's right. It's the same. Oh no, it is bigger.
Yeah, but you can't see the whole thing.
I just had to make my screen bigger. That's all.
Oh, okay, all right, cool.
Section 1. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the parties shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Excerpt of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, Civil Rights, ratified 1868. Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States in the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Excerpt of 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, Voting Rights, ratified 1870. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude.
All
Wait,
right.
really? It says that?
Yeah, it say that.
Wouldn't that make them saying that people couldn't vote if they were in jail before, like, illegal?
Mm-hmm.
What? Okay.
Yeah, you remember there was a big thing if you had a felony, you couldn't vote.
Yeah, but it says a previous condition of servitude, which is like going to jail. They consider that, right? So I don't understand how they allowed that when this is in the Constitution.
All right, so, okay. Now here we go. The founding convention of the Afro-American League. Can you read this, please? I'm just looking to see if it's going to say anything about abos or if it's just going to say anything about black people.
The group of 447 delegates from 21 states in the District of Columbia met to form this national organization to advocate for equal rights and to organize and encourage state and local affiliates in efforts to break down color barriers. The delegates adopted this sarcastic response to a series of congressional legislative proposals to fund black deportation from the South. A petition to Congress. Whereas the predominance of Afro Americans in the states of Alabama, South Carolina, Louisiana, Mississippi, and other southern states makes the situation painful and uncomfortable for the small minority of white fellow citizens residing therein. Therefore, be it resolved that we do petition the Honorable Congress of the United States to make and provide for an appropriation of, what is that number? $10 billion? Looks like it.
Yeah.
To furnish the unhappy white citizens of the states. What? Who may desire to settle in other and more favored states, free from Afro-American majorities, with free transportation and lunch by the way to any of the states north of the Mason-Dixon line. Be it further resolved that the Congress designee Senator Morgan of Alabama, Senator Hampton of South Carolina, and Senator Gibson of Tennessee to be the Moses to lead the unhappy people out of the states of their misfortune.
That's crazy, ain't it?
Yes.
That's how it be, though. That's how it be. All right, let's move on. You didn't hear nothing about elbows or indigenous or natives or copper color. You didn't hear any of that in what you just read. Okay, I'm just making sure. What about this one right here? This excerpt from an Executive Order 8802 by Franklin D. Roosevelt, 1941. What this say right there?
Philip Randolph issued a call to Black Americans for a march on Washington on July 1st, 1941, to demand that President Roosevelt outlaw racial discrimination in the defense industries and the armed forces. Under pressure, the president issued the executive order and Randolph called off the planned demonstration. Black men and women worked in the defense industry during World War II. Excerpt. Reaffirming policy of full participation in the defense program by all persons, regardless of race, creed, color, or national origin, in directing certain action in furtherance of said policy. Whereas it is the policy of the United States to encourage full participation in the national defense program by all citizens of the United States, regardless of race, creed, color, or national origin, in a firm belief that the democratic way of life within a nation can be defended successfully only with the help and support of all groups within its borders. And whereas there is evidence that available and needed workers have been barred from employment in industries engaged in defense production solely because of considerations of race, creed, color, or national origin, to the detriment of workers' morale and the national unity. May I go down some?
I am. There you go.
Now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the statutes, and as a prerequisite to the successful conduct of our national defense production effort, I do hereby reaffirm the policy of the United States that there should be no discrimination in the employment of workers in defense industries or government because of race, creed, color, or national origin. And I do hereby declare that it is the duty of employers and of labor organizations in furtherance of said policy and of this order to provide for the full and equitable participation of all workers in defense industries without discrimination because of race, creed, color, or national origin.
Okay. Did you hear anything about copper color, indigenous, native, aboriginal, and that at all? Did you hear anything about that?
No.
Okay. I'm just making sure I ain't tripping. Okay. One more for the people. Let's go to it. Here we go. The Civil Rights Act. You ready for this? Again, y'all, we looking for the same thing One more time. Stop laughing. I know some of y'all laughing. Quit laughing. It's for real. We serious. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Civil Rights Act of 1964, July 2nd, 1964. As the nation watched the often brutal response to the nonviolent civil rights protests of the late 1950s into the 1960s, President John F. Kennedy was prompted to send a bill to Congress that would become the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It was signed into law by President Lyndon Johnson, an act to enforce the constitutional right to vote, to confer jurisdiction upon the district courts of the United States, to provide injunctive relief against discrimination in public accommodations, to authorize the Attorney General to institute suits to protect constitutional rights in public facilities and public education, to extend the Commission on Civil Rights, to prevent discrimination in federally assisted programs, to establish a commission on equal employment opportunity, and for other purposes, being enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, that this act may be cited as the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Anything in there in particular stands out? Because we got to continue. So here we go. Let's go to the voting rights. Let's go to voting rights. Let's see if we get indigenous, black, Native Americans shits in here. Let's go.
By the summer of 1960, you want to read this, right?
Yeah.
1965.
Mm-hmm.
By the summer of 1964, voting rights had become a dominant issue in the civil rights movement in the South. Following the murder of voting rights activists in Philadelphia, Mississippi that summer, and the Bloody Sunday attack by law enforcement officers on civil rights marchers on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama in March 1965, President Lyndon Johnson addressed Congress on March 15th to present his voting rights bill, ending with the words of the civil rights anthem, "We Shall Overcome." He signed the Voting Rights Act 5 months later, an act to enforce the 15th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States and for other purposes, being enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, that the act shall be known as the Voting Rights Act of 1965. No voting qualifications or prerequisites to voting or standard practice or procedure shall be imposed or applied by any state or political subdivision to deny or abridge the right of any citizen of the United States to vote on account of race or color. Was this president liked? He seems to I don't see like nowadays presidents addressing things that are happening to people in this way.
Yeah, it's crazy. So here's my thing. Everything that I'm showing and we're discussing and she's reading about, these are all the things that are part of the African American experience. This means that everything in history, in our history, negates all the. Now, the other day I said it during a live stream, and people didn't understand what I was talking about. So I'm really showing this to show a timeline, right, of all the shit that belongs to us through all of this history that we've endured, and to set aside all the stupidity in the people that want to be black, but then don't, and want to claim all of this, but then don't want to, claim their Africanness. That's when Lyndon B. Johnson signs into the Voting Rights Act. Okay, so are you familiar? Let's do it. Come on, let's do it. You ready?
Yeah. Why start reading? On mute. An address to the New England Anti-Slavery Society. Maria Stewart, New England Anti-Slavery Society, Boston, September 21st, 1832. Maria Stewart, who had gained public recognition as a contributor to the anti-slavery newspaper, The Liberator, was the first woman of any race to deliver an address to a mixed gender audience on political issues.
Mm.
Few white persons of either sex who are calculated for anything else are willing to spend their lives and bury their talents in performing mean, servile labor. What? Oh. And such is the horrible idea that I entertain respecting a life of servitude, that if I conceived of there being no possibility of my rising above the condition of a servant, I would gladly hail death as a welcome messenger. Oh, horrible idea indeed, to possess noble souls aspiring after high and honorable acquirements, yet confined by the chains of ignorance and poverty to lives of continual drudgery and toil. Neither do I know of any who have enriched themselves by spending their lives as house domestics, washing windows, shaking carpets, brushing boots, or tending upon gentlemen's tables. I can but die for expressing my sentiments, and I am as willing to die by the sword of the pestilence, for I am a true born American. Your blood flows in my veins, and your spirit fires my breast. This sounds so like extra.
Sound like
I
you.
observed a piece of the Liberator a few months since, stating that the colonizations had published a work respecting us, asserting that we were lazy and idle.
Mm.
I confute them on that point. Take us generally as a people. We are neither lazy nor idle. And considering how little we have to excite or stimulate us, I'm almost astonished that there are so many industrious and ambitious ones to be found. Although I acknowledge with extreme sorrow that there are some who never were and never will be serviceable to society, and have you not a similar class amongst yourself? Again, it was asserted that we were a ragged set crying for liberty. A reply to it, the whites have so long and so loudly proclaimed the theme of equal rights and privileges that our souls have caught the flame. Also, ragged as we are, as far as our merit deserves, we feel a common desire to rise above the conditions of servants and drudges. And I have learned by bitter experience that continual hard labor deadens the energies of the soul and benumbs the faculties of the mind. The ideas become confined, the mind barren, and, like the scorching sands of Arabia, produces nothing, or, like the uncultivated soil, brings forth thorns and thistles.
You said this remind you of you. It's a damn shame.
It's very extra.
Right. We ain't gonna get into Frederick Douglass and the meaning of the 4th of July. It's because it's long as the street in my neighborhood coalition. All right, so here we go. I'm looking for listen. We looking for this Marcus Garvey. We ain't getting into that. We can, but I want to save that for a person that wanted to superimpose their shit on me.
Uh-oh.
Swing low, sweet chariot. There you go, the slave song right there. Or the Fisk people saying that shit. I should take y'all on a little tour to Fisk. For those of you who've never been to Nashville and been to Meharry or Fisk or Tennessee State. We got some more songs right here. Hold on. Remember, this is all this is important documents about us. And so, as you can see, these black people that were in Congress, these black people ain't Aboriginal or none of that crazy shit. I ain't none of it. You know what I'm saying? But let me skip these people. We gotta get one more in. We're gonna see if we're gonna uncover some black people want to be indigenous, Aboriginal. All this bullshit that y'all try to come up with. All right, hold on. Look at that. What that say right there? Look at that. I don't want no smoke, man. That's it. So we cool. We got that in. Now, let me scroll back up so people can understand what this is. This is the title of this book. It's only 76 pages. Becoming American, the African American Journey. It don't say nothing about Abo, none of that shit. It's Becoming American. Period, point blank. Let me go to history.com real quick. While I got Honey Clark up here. All right. So, Honey Clark, can you see the screen? Can you see that? I mean, I know your eyes bad.
You know what? Yes, I can.
Okay. So, out of the numbers that you can see right here, just coming on down, right? Do you see anything on here that would be related to the Aboriginals, or, and I'm gonna zoom in for the people so y'all can see in the chat. Anything that would speak out to like indigenous, Aboriginal, Black, Native, Indians, anything historically that would speak out.
No. Mm-mm. Not on here.
Okay. Anybody in the chat? Is there anything? Remember they said Nat Turner is fictitious. You see Emmett Till down there. Yeah. Dan Calloway teaches that him and Minty are fake. They just good old inspirational stories. You know who Minty is, don't you?
No.
Harriet Tubman.
How is that an inspirational story? Like, I mean, Nat Turner. Okay, when I was in school, I got in trouble because they said Nat Turner was a They said he was a serial killer. That's how they taught it, and I said that he was a martyr.
Right.
And me and the teacher went back and forth about this. So to say it's an inspirational story, the people teaching it don't think that should be an inspirational story. We do.
Right. They're saying that it's fake though. They said it never happened.
Yeah, no.
They said he wasn't a real person.
Why would they take that away though? Like, how does that help him? How did that help their movement to try to take away our people?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
I don't know. But I'm trying to, I would love to click on one of these and see if it's going to have something to do with the Aboriginal community. They even got Kamala Harris in here. They done already updated this shit. The rise of Black Power. Let's see what the rise of Black Power is. Yep, it look Black Power-ish, right? Okay, can you read just the first paragraph? We ain't got to go too far. We ain't slow. Let's see if we find the word indigenous, Native American, Aboriginal in this shit. You're on mute again.
Okay. After the heady rush of the civil rights movement, first years, anger and frustration were increasing amongst many African Americans who saw clearly that true equality, social, economic, and political, still eluded them. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, this frustration fueled the rise of the Black Power movement. According to the SNCC chairman, Stokely Carmichael, who first popularized this term Black Power in 1966, The traditional civil rights movement and its emphasis of nonviolence did not go far enough, and the federal legislation it had achieved Black power was a form of both self-definition and self-defense for African Americans. And called on them to stop looking to the institutions of white America, which were believed to be inherently racist, and act for themselves by themselves to seize the gains they desired, including better jobs, housing, and education. Also in 1966, Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, college students in Oakland, California, founded the Black Panther Party.
You find anything about Aboriginals or people, black natives in this in that?
No.
Anybody else in the chat? Find any Aboriginals in any of this shit? Do you know what I'm saying? My point is, right, all of this history belongs to us. And every mark in history resorts back to Africa. I don't care what anybody say. The shit goes back to Africa. It don't go nowhere else. Y'all see the video playing on the screen with no sound? Them ain't Aboriginals getting their ass beat singing "We Shall Overcome." Them ain't indigenous blacks walking the streets arm in hand with Martin Luther King. Them people wasn't on the Pettis Bridge. Who out there got on the what's that shit the Native Americans be wearing? What's the little hat? Not to be disrespectful. What's the shit the Native Americans be wearing on their head? Come on, y'all. With the feathers and shit. Who out there with feathers on their head? Can somebody answer my question? Please?
I didn't know they had a name.
Who out there with feathers on their head? You see anybody?
This is a feather war bonnet. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't see nobody. Yes or no? Let me stop.
It says a war bonnet.
Is that what it said up top?
Yes. A war bonnet or headdress. A feather hair gear traditionally worn by male leaders of the American Plains Indians nations.
So Top Cats is running around here with a fake war bonnet on.
Yes.
What free Papa TV doing in the chat? Lying about his ancestry? Cause he been typing this whole entire time. There you go, right there. War bonnets. With ceremonial importance, many Native American tribes consider the presentation of an eagle feather to be one of the highest marks of respect. They put real feathers on their shit. That shit Top Cats had on and all them other dudes, they was $4 fake. I can't make it up. It's $4 fake. I mean, what y'all want me to say? It was every bit of fake. Shoot.
He said they have churches.
You said what?
He said they have churches to prove it. To prove what?
Free pop. Who got churches? I'm confused.
What?
Who? What is it? I'm confused. Bro, do you see what we talking about? Free pop. We can't understand what you typing. How about you say it to us? Come help us understand. I'm gonna let you.
Nominated goddess. That is a hilarious thing, though. Apple Church is crazy.
Bro, I'm gonna let you get it out, bro. I'm gonna let you say whatever it is you gotta say. Uninterrupted, bro. I promise. I promise to you, bro.
Oh, he's the person who thinks that he's a Native American.
Yeah, I'm
He
gonna let him
thinks
say.
Native Americans had churches?
I don't know what he think, but I'm gonna let him get it all out. The flow is his.
Premiere Free Papa TV. I want to see a church. That's interesting. I've never heard that before ever.
Me or you. Free pop, hit the link, bro. You already know those Sean P. You try to debate. What? I don't know what, bro. I don't know what you talking about. Try to debate what? You ain't even making sense. That's why I'm asking you if you can just hit the link so we can understand what it is that you really trying to say so we ain't confused, bro. I ain't trying to argue with you, bro. I've been calm this whole time, bro. The only time I was hyped is when I was addressing the Craigs, who always seem to be nowhere to be found. We asked about the headdress. It's a war bonnet. We now know, which we already knew, that Top Cats is wearing a fake war bonnet. Melanated, I understand that he gonna hide, but if there was a time that he could get on the panel and get his shit off, this is the time. This the time. I cannot make this shit up. Look what he keeps saying. Stop playing stupid, Sean. Y'all debated 1-1 truth over Chief Chango and the creature. I know. And if anybody debated 1-1 truth over anything, we all know that 1-1 truth is a lie. We know 1-1 truth lost. 1-1 truth said he seen OMAC heads in Northern California in some rocks. Everybody know he delusional. He was high as a kite. Ain't nobody. Come on, man. We ain't taking that serious, bro. I'm trying to give you a. And he said you lost, nigga. You ain't never heard me and him have a discussion over a subject matter, and I lost. No, it didn't happen. Find it. You will never find a video of me and him debating anything. That's how I know you lying. What's up, Vasa? You on mute, bro.
What's good, Sean? I'm at work, my bad. I had to jump up real quick. I heard y'all talking and I glanced at the chat. Is he talking about Sango from Muskogee? And if so,
Bro,
he's spelling it wrong.
I know. That's why I lost.
Horribly wrong. But peace,
I don't
y'all.
even
You're doing a good job as always, Sean.
appreciate it, bro. I mean, you could speak to Vasa, Honey Clark. He is on the panel. God damn, you a rude, disrespectful, short motherfucker.
He called me short.
Absolutely. I mean, who is?
We're the same height.
No, we're not.
Yeah,
Stop the lying. No, stop the lying. Enough of the bull junk. Oh, we got. Oh, damn! I thought we had them. Man,
Usually put
it was sick.
the sources in the description. Like if you go like click it down, it'll have a list of sources. Now which one is which? You know, you just gotta keep clicking and figure it out. I guess.
You talking about me?
Yeah.
What up? In my video?
Yes, in your video. He
Yeah,
said
that's what
something
they all
about
are.
the source earlier. That you were reading from.
This source in there on the Google Drive. It's called "Becoming American: The African American Journey." It's a PDF, and it's 79 pages, and I don't know if hold on.
Hey, Sean. I don't.
Yeah, what up? What up?
He really ain't answered directly, but he want to indirectly say no. He got the right spelling. If he talking about A Sango, I just put you a just simple link in the back because he does have a Wikipedia, and I don't know anything about him starting a church. I know he was an attorney.
What up, Vyasa?
I know who his father was. What's good, Savio?
Yeah. This is anytime you see Shango, that's African. Shango shit, African like a mug. I don't even know why he trying to play with the Africanness and that. What's up?
Because
What's up, Savio?
what up, Sean?
You know,
I see,
read it for
I see you
yourself.
got, I see you got niggas in the chokehold, keeping them
Yes,
in the,
sir.
keeping them in the stranglehold where they supposed to be. Afraid of the
What you
real information, man. You know, just doing the same thing as you. I did a show earlier. I think you would have liked it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
on race and racism.
I seen some of it, not all. I was at work.
But yeah, so it's helping me realize and see how the racists, these anti-black people like Free Papa New Guinea, Free Papa TV, how their ideas was formulated using the literature. See, I asked the question. You remember the question I asked Deity this morning, Vyasa?
I'm at work, Savio. I'm gonna be the wrong one to communicate with for the next 30 minutes.
Oh, all right. Well, I asked the question this morning. All right, Sean. I asked, how do you think reading the English literature that was used to help these Caucasians or these white Anglo-Saxon Protestants
Mm-hmm.
shape their ideology and their identity? How do you think that worked against us as being African American or black people?
Bro, that's
Really?
linguistic imperialism. I
Linguistic
remember that.
imperialism. Uh-huh. And that right there is how this this literature works against that. Because number one, we're speaking their language. We're reading their language. So everything that they taught us has been against us and has been the upliftment of who? When we go back through history, we can look at all the presidents, all the generals, all the soldiers that they uplift. They've killed people. The king, the all of them. But because it's their history and it was taught to us and it was taught to give them an identity and it's the educational system, it has a trickle down impact. So it's them and it impacts anti-blackness. So it's a double-edged sword. And that's what a lot of these niggas are suffering from. Anti-blackness. They're racist against themselves.
They're racist.
They're racist against themselves.
Racist against themselves. That's
So
cold. That's
it's a
cold.
it's a cold game. It's a cold game.
Racist against themselves. They hate themselves that much, bro.
They hate themselves that much that they think that anything connected to Africa should be considered monstrous inhuman, dirty, unclean, all the terms, vile, all the terms that white people use in the Middle Ages to describe Africa, they will apply to Africa.
Mm.
You've heard it, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Haven't you heard the album called Africa Dirty? Called
Yeah.
Africans.
Yeah. They very disrespectful. Ain't no doubt of this, bro. Ain't no doubt about it. They very disrespectful. Very. No if, ands, buts, or maybes behind it. They disrespectful.
But it's because they've adopted the mentality. And it's so sick that the only way they can actually see it is they would have to challenge themselves to actually look at it. But they'll question us and say that we've adopted the mentality because we use the information that's available to us, not knowing that a lot of the information is coming from that I use is coming from black scholars
Mm-hmm.
that study race and racism.
This and got on the panel just to vent is crazy. Who's venting? He ain't even like if you free pop, bro, you welcome to come up here. We asked you to come up here. All we want to do is get down to what you claim. Vasa put a source in the chat because he's working right now. We got the source on the screen while Sabio is, putting us up on game on how I feel. And
And
then you was
what's crazy?
claiming that you mistyped his name in the chat. Whether you tried to give the English or African rendition, you fucked it up. You just clearly you show, bro.
And what's crazy is he said I'm bitching, but I can show all sources on everything that I'm reading, that I'm talking about. And there's so many scholars that have traced the same shit that I've been talking about, Sean. And it lines up with this conversation that you're having with these Aboriginals and these African deniers, their heritage deniers, race deniers, because it's the same thing they did. So they're using certain things to say they're not this. They use skin, they use ethnicity, they use culture. And because they don't have certain things or they don't have certain practices that they may not do in their family, then that takes them outside of this group. That's the same shit white people were doing. They don't know it though. They don't even know it. And it's all in the literature. I just did a show on it. Just go to my channel. I read a whole paper on it, 23 pages. I didn't read the sources, so the sources make up the 23 pages. I think it's about 20 pages that I read, 18, 19 pages that I read.
Hey, y'all, quick question. Will
Yeah.
StreamYard let you copy and paste a chat from the comment in here?
Now, which comment you trying to get highlighted?
The one I just dropped y'all in the back chat.
Oh, yeah, it won't let us do this. But I can do this right here. Hold on. I can do that. And I can highlight it once it show up. Boom. Canadian colored in the House of Kings
Y'all
and
type
House.
it in. Anybody who was ever willing to do it, I guarantee you're gonna find not this AG Sango, but you're gonna find his father Scipio. And that Canadian colored aspect of it, you're gonna find themselves calling themselves African. This is the Creek Muskogee band that I think he's alluding to.
You know what? You know what's funny to me? Ever since it seemed like the Cherokee and the Chickasaw claim have kind of succeeded ever since the Cherokee and Choctaw slave code been been circulated. You know, I don't think they know how far people actually research these things and why they were researched. They don't know that people had to actually study these things in college and shit.
Hey, y'all, did you hear me?
So being able to
Yeah,
reference them.
I hear you. You went out, but yeah, I hear you now.
Oh, I was talking about the Cherokee and Choctaw slave code. Like, it sounds like those people aren't around as much as they used to be. Seem like they trying to pick up new tribes, trying to run a new tribe. The Seminole, Blackfoot. They used to want to be Cherokee though.
I don't know, but nah. So Papa's scared to come up here. He just want to keep on making claims in the chat. The Craigs hadn't. Neither one of them want to actually have a conversation.
What they
With
running from?
names. All right, they just had plenty of shit to say. Vasa just fell off again. Melanated is tired of free pop. She like, he ain't gonna do nothing but type in the chat. Cheetah, she ain't got nothing good going on because she ain't got nothing to say. So we ain't even sweating her. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even worried about that.
Can you pull up a Google search?
What I'm pulling up.
Free Papa TV? People Power
I
TV?
talking about him. He ain't
Yeah.
pulling nothing, bro. He ain't pulling up nothing. That's why Melanated acting like that.
Oh, you just gonna type. You just type it.
Yeah, he's a divergence. So he's just going to deny and then move the conversation somewhere that it ain't going.
Damn.
I just want to see a church. An Aboriginal church.
You want to see a church?
Yeah, he said
Oh,
they
they
got
used to have them.
churches.
They used to have them.
He said,
Man, he ain't finna show us no damn church. You and me
I can
know
show
that.
Aboriginal. I can show a Native American church. They used to have them. I think I have. I think I show one
oh yeah, that's right. He did
in
tell
the
me the Native.
Encyclopedia of a Native American history. I think they
Bro,
have one
that's a
there.
colonizing church. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was a colonizer church. Yeah, no fact. It was a colonizer church. No cap.
you good, Voss. I know your shit fucking up.
But no, it wasn't no church before the colonizers got here. Ain't gonna see no shit like that. Nah. If that's what you ask, if that's what he claiming, that's some new shit.
Yeah, motherfucking liar.
But they ain't gonna be nah. They didn't know shit about no Yahweh or Jesus before the colonizer touched these shores.
What he saying now? Sean, you was better off playing like you don't remember the debate. I don't even know what you talking about. Who seen a debate between 111 Truth and somebody about a church? Like, bro, you do this all the time. Yo, Sabio, you making all kind of weird noises, bro. What you?
No, I'm not. I
What you?
think you have some smoke.
Yeah, we hear that shit. It sound like static in the radio, bro. Yeah, it's really sad that you in the chat and you won't never hit the panel link so that we can fully understand what it is that you're trying to articulate in the chat. None of us know what you're talking about, bro. And you want us to be under the assumption that we know what you're talking about. We don't know what you're talking about. None of us. We have no idea what you're referring to because you will remain in the chat and you're not providing clarity. even if you hit the link and you just gave us clarity on what it is that you were saying, you won't even do that. You just want to keep us confused. So now we just going in circular arguments with you about some dumbass shit that we tired of going in circular arguments with because you ain't making no goddamn sense. And I may make that PDF available for people to download. I just got to figure out how to make it accessible to y'all unless I start emailing people. And I know that's one of the ways, but
What's the title of it?
it's hold on. Becoming American, the African American journey. But listen, man, I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here. I really was trying to have an intellectual conversation with people who seem to want to just talk shit behind, closed doors in private in a safe space. And then, kind of entertain these elbows in the same breath, because the minute you want to disconnect Africa, you expose the whole shit. So being anti-African and then trying to belittle Africa ain't gonna get none of you motherfuckers nowhere. Period. But now, Honey Clark, y'all got something going on? Y'all got debate? What y'all got?
Oh, not yet. No.
So y'all just
Oh wait, it's a face off on Sunday on Paradigm Shift, but that's about I think it was talking about us African Americans. Were we better off before or after integration? I think that's what they're
before or after integration. Yeah. Who's arguing that?
Jashu, the Lucifer, the one who was talking to you on the panel, him and Laurel. So of course he's saying his position was that we were better after integration, and Laurel's was
whoa. Jashu said we were better
after integration, yeah.
Did he not know that we had our own grocery stores?
And listen, Laurel thinks we're better before. As far as wealth-wise,
segregation helped us find our own identity, and it forced us to create solutions to problems. And we didn't need white people. We had our own banks, our own stores. Our money stayed in the community. It didn't leave out of the community. Once segregation occurred, we began to want to integrate. Desegregation occurred. We began to want to integrate in a society with people who didn't want us with them. And what did we do with our money?
We put it with theirs. Well, it doesn't come back to us.
Right. It didn't come back to us. When we were segregated, the money stayed in our communities. It's not like the beauty shops and the barber shops. When people was doing all of that, people was shining shoes. The black grocery stores was popping. The black banks was popping. Black people could get loans. Black people had land. Black people had housing. Black people had solutions. There were more black people that came up. We lost a lot by segregating. That's why I'm when desegregation, and by integrating. That's why you have Dr. King's famous words is he think he made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody talk about that lecture when he says, I think I made a mistake.
Yeah, I know. That's what I brought that up too. And the fact that the disparity like between races, like white and black, then it was like, I think whites were like 7 times higher, and like today they're 10 times. So it's a bigger gap. now as far as them having more than us than when we were
Segregated because we had land.
Mm-hmm.
We had land.
You
We
got
had one of the
generational
most
wealth.
right. So that was, and we had numerous Black Wall Streets in different places. It wasn't just delegated to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Black Wall Streets was everywhere for us. So no, it didn't keep us sitting still or none of that stuff. We started wanting what the white people had. Look what she say. It's your friend right here. She say, and with all that, they were still able to blow it out of the water. That's not the point. The point is what this conversation is about. Were we better off before or after? We were better off before because we relied on one another. We had a sense of community and communion, and we began to build these solutions. We became more dependable when we integrated because they still were being racist toward us. And then earlier you had said, Ray, that mean we didn't have to spend our money with them. Yes, we did, because our businesses were not as seen as lucrative to them when they could get more from white people. Let me go back and take you down memory lane to the slave trade, since you wanted to make that argument. No, you can't look at that as sitting duck, sweetheart. You fucking history up. The question is about, were we better off before or after? So you don't look at what a motherfucker did by bombing it. You got to look at the prosperity we had during those times. You had people that had bank accounts with money in it. So in slavery and during the slave trade, the Portuguese would enter the coast of West Africa with certain spices and things of that nature that came from other places. And then they would put their value on it and spin it around to where it would be worth more than whatever the amount of gold it was. Africans had spices as well, but because the way the European positioned and proposed the spices to them made it seem like the African spices and other trade goods were not as useful or needed as what these foreign things that they were bringing into West Africa. What that ended up doing was killing the economic position and power of the West Africans who were trading with the Portuguese. That set up another commodity and a need for the Portuguese: bodies. Because the expansion was taking place, there was trading networks being set up and post, and then they were getting away from doing business and natural resources and requiring bodies now to help them do what needed to be done. My point in saying all of that is, just like before we integrated, we had a valuable commodity, but we allowed the European to devalue our valuable commodity. And then we just stopped shopping with each other. And we started wanting to shop with, they had now laters and popcorn in this store. Y'all ain't got the plug on the now laters and the popcorn and the soda pops. So we lose there. Soon as we lose the battle of marketing and strategy there, right? Because they had other means of being able to advertise that black people really didn't have, because black people they've been segregated for so long. They didn't have to do invest in certain aspects. That's why you see that some black businesses like hair salons, the barbershops of the world, you see them thrive in black communities, but you don't see the other stores thrive the way that the beauty shops do in all the neighborhoods around the world. And then in some places, in the Americas, and then in some places, certain food places will kind of breakthrough, but for how long? And that's only because, you know, they got white people coming into their restaurants now more so than they do black people, and that holds them over and that keeps them relevant. Sean P., you shown the Texas Declaration of Causes 1861 that uses Negro and African synonymously in their secession from the Union. Great point, Life in Life. I haven't showed that. I think Not a Coincidence might have did before. But that would kill Top Cats because he's the only one that'll argue against that. You know, being who he is and all. But that's a conversation that's worth having. I mean, I don't know how these dudes are gonna argue it. I won't be there for that. But that's a conversation that definitely would be worth our while. I mean, Tulsa, Oklahoma wasn't the only Black Wall Street. So I don't want people to only think that that was it. And then it was a white person influenced that shit. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, we got Vasa right here. He can tell you the whole thing and the backstory and some stuff that probably came up that don't even get talked about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and what led the white mob to doing what the hell that they did. The truth behind it all. We shouldn't have to. Yes, we should have to segregate. What do you mean? We shouldn't have to say. We were enslaved on slave plantations by ourselves. We were staying in them damn huts. Okay, people got into the big house and worked. And maybe one of them little pretty little ladies, they got to stay. And maybe one of their kids might get to stay, but they stayed downstairs in the basement. But they've been segregating us. What are you talking about? We shouldn't have had to segregate. We were forced into that. What we shouldn't have had to do was integrate. Think about this. I'm finna kill this thought process altogether the way you displaying it right now. Do black kids in the classrooms do better if they have a white teacher or a black teacher? Okay, Honey Clark. I know you're gonna say that. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting to see what other people saying.
I forgot I was on here. I was typing.
Crazy ass. Niggas just black, duh. We got some blacks. Free Papa, you ain't even a part of this conversation because we talking about history that don't have shit to do with you, brother. Remember, you ain't black. No, we shouldn't have to segregate it. Yes, we do have to. I'm going to say it's character. Black kids overwhelmingly do better when they see a teacher that looks like them teaching the class. Because the teacher can relate to them better than a white person can. I was one of those kids in the classroom that white teachers just couldn't relate to and couldn't break through. So instead of them teaching me, they sent me to my black teachers, and I did my work in all my subjects in my black teachers' classes. And I didn't get in trouble. I sat in the front of the class and I made good grades. And I wasn't in these people's classrooms. When I was in middle school, my teachers, I had a black teacher. Her name was Miss Rowland. She was a gold school teacher. That's 7th grade hallway. She was a science teacher. Then I had a white lady for math and English, and then I had a white man for another subject. I went to his class, but the 2 white women just could not tolerate me at all. They English and math, they sent my ass right on into Miss Rowland's. I sat right in the front of the class. She didn't even explain the work to me. I did my homework right there. That was part of the conditions for me to. I wasn't getting in trouble. I wasn't getting ISS. I wasn't getting suspended. All my troubles went away when they started doing me like that. Even in the 4th and 5th grade, my 4th grade teacher was a white lady that told me that I was skipping class at 9 years old. Like, how the fuck do I know how to skip class? That's like,
I
you
really
know,
can't relate.
hmm?
So I can't relate. I only had black teachers when I was in elementary school, and then when I went to that private school. I didn't have
Yeah,
any. I
well, we
didn't have
all
any
know you
anymore, and it
that
was
all white private school.
that's why I had to argue with my teachers a lot.
That's wild too. That you had to
That's how I
argue.
learned too that we have culture, like Black Americans have. Like when they say we don't, like we literally do, because we had to teach it a lot to them because they were ignorant of us. There are people in this world like that are not like us, like white people, who never have to encounter us. They don't have to know about us. They don't have to know about our food, our culture, our heritage, our history, or anything in the United States. So, like, I went to school K-6, elementary school. We get beaten our head. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, what I'm saying, Sojourner Truth, all these things, right? We get so tired of it almost. And then I go to 7th through 12 at a private, like, international school, and our teacher made all the black people, he said, don't answer this question. And he asked the class, who's Martin Luther King? And all they know is that we get a day off for him. They don't know his history. They don't know our history. So it's like, you know, clearly, if you want to know more about yourself or somebody that can relate to you, it would be better to have somebody teaching you that kind of has your
Understand.
background or has your
Yeah,
history.
that's a fact. We just did better. I think everybody did better. Now, you know, young black women just did way better job than young black men in the classroom, regardless, because y'all just raised a little bit or wired a little bit differently. Y'all are more mentally mature than a lot of us at these times. But the fact is, the presence, that black presence, like, listen, even this shithole, I'm gonna tell you how cold blooded this shit is. I went to Tennessee State University, HBCU, 2 years. I made A's and B's. No bullshit. A's and B's. I transferred to Austin P State University, a PWI. That's where I met my damn baby mama. But she didn't go there. She just lived, she was an Army brat kid and she just lived up there. But I went to a PWI and it was night and day. And my grades went from A's and B's and me being able to understand the subject matters to fucking C's. To the point that I was like, fuck this shit, fuck college, I'm out. I had no black teachers in none of the courses that I was dealing with. It wasn't a predominantly black environment that I was around. It was the black people that went to this PWI all knew each other, and we had designated areas where we got together and hung out at this PWI. And when I say all the black people knew each other, they knew each other. Everybody. Wasn't no getting around it. And it's just that much more difficult because their expectations are different. It's just like when I first took my kids out of metro schools and we moved to Rutherford County and put them in schools in Rutherford County, a predominantly white county. Like, it was struggles early on, like, real talk. Like, it was some adjustments that had to be made. This shit wasn't the same. Wasn't the same at all. So I mean, but It's a good conversation if you got intelligent people centered around it and having it and are arguing it based on evidence. So there's more evidence that says that segregation was better for us than it is that saying integration was better for us or desegregation was better for us. I mean, today we just had to evolve in our circumstances, but imagine the heights we would have reached continuing to be segregated. Think about the culture, the cultural impact that we have on American society. If we isolated all of that, the music industry, we isolated all of that. You know what I'm saying? Black builders, we isolated all of that. That means that the ingenuity or the fabrications of America would rest in the hands of black folk and not the white folk who couldn't do what we could do. But yeah, they would have had military prowess and hate for us to be able to do whatever. Yeah, that don't mean anything. But the ingenuity showed and proved that there was a time in history where black people were dominating shit and had money. A lot more black people had more money during those times than black people have money these times. And even though we have all these different streams of income being made, there's still a small, minute fraction of black people that's getting paid. She said none of that requires segregation. You are I get what you're trying to argue because you are an integrationalist. You probably date white men. I don't know that to be true, but I'm saying the way you're arguing it, you are all lives matter type of an arguer. If you can't see the progress that was made by black people during the segregation era, I don't know what to do. We were smarter. We were more creative. We didn't depend on no other group of people. We invested within one another. Businesses thrived. More people probably had bank accounts. We damn sure know they had more land. That's a no-brainer. Papu, bro, I can't even do this no more, bro. I just been letting you just say what the fuck you want to say and not even caring, bro. I don't even, bro. You ain't even add to the discussion. You just talking around what the fuck everybody else is. Yeah, I don't mind a colored only fountains. We wouldn't
She's talking
bother,
about her.
huh?
She's talking about herself. She's for coloreds only. Herself. She doesn't date white men.
Okay, she better have a black man. She said, so we need to segregate because you can't function with white teachers.
Segregation.
You missed the whole point.
I think that what she thinks she thinks of segregation. She thinks of the like when you're looking at Jim Crow laws and things of that nature. Where we're just thinking about our society being like for us by us. And she's more looking at it like, well, during segregation, we were being like subjugated or we were being oppressed or we were being all this stuff. So I think that's why it's like, no, we don't need that because right now we're in the same position. It's just a little bit more hidden because we're spread out everywhere. So we're not building up our own communities and ourselves. We're so busy trying to catch up to people that we won't catch up to by ourselves.
Right, because we won't be like them. That's my thing. We trying to be like these people. Look at
Maybe
y'all.
even then, just
Hold on.
culturally understand.
Hold on. Look at her. Look. She got dreads. She got dreads. Please say she got dreads.
Yes.
She got dreads?
Yes.
Okay. I was about to say. But she wear them goddamn eyelashes, don't she?
Well, what's wrong with eyelashes, first of all?
See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all don't even know what's wrong with fucking eyelashes because y'all trying to be like the goddamn Europeans. They telling you what beauty is. They ain't
Eyelashes like that?
motherfucking niggas is falling for that shit.
What European you seen with eyelashes and when
She
you
said
were?
we were sitting ducks gathered in one place and easy to bomb. That's bullshit. What are you talking about?
No, that's not true.
No, we were not. We had a Black Wall Street story in Tennessee, North Carolina. There's some in Florida. There's some in Virginia. There's some even fucking Ohio. There's some there's everywhere you goddamn go where black people were able to thrive. You gonna see these little black towns thriving. What are you talking about? We wasn't just sitting ducks. What do you mean? So we was just supposed to integrate and continue to do what the fuck we was doing with integration, and now it sounds like you being weak because they dropped a bomb, but you don't know nothing about that bomb when you're building this success in Tulsa, when you got control of oil, when you got oil. How many black people you know got oil? Because in Tulsa, Oklahoma, there was black people that had oil. That's all I'm saying. Come on now, bro. You got to be all the way to the too real with it. We went from black people having oil to we can't name one black person that got oil to this day. How many people you know own oil? Y'all know anybody?
I don't.
Don't none of us do. And that's crazy. Shit, black people ain't even ranking high in home ownership. They got our asses living in apartments and townhouses and shit. We ain't even got no damn real estate or land. Not like we once had before integration, since we were sitting ducks. He said Ali Muhammad got plenty of oil, snake oil. Yo, this nigga Zane's wild. Who said it stopped building? You lost your resources, which gave you capital to be able to build the way that you could build prior to. I don't think that you understand that. They ain't making no more land. People had land. That means that they could pull from that equity in their land and do the things that needed to be done around their land to build. We don't have that no more. But listen, I'm just saying it's a good conversation. It needs to be had intelligently with evidence. Like we can show that, right? We can go back and we can extract certain parts of history and present them. And I bet you we have more pros than cons when you look at segregation in its entirety. And hopefully whoever's arguing that they're smart enough to weigh the evidence and get out of their fucking feelings. So on that note, Moses Shepherd, founder and CEO of Ace Petroleum, a Detroit-based company that supplies fuel services for local government entities. You don't know Moses Shepherd. I asked you how many people you know. I ain't saying they don't exist. I said how many people you know. See, you just go on to Google. We all can do that. We all can pull the list up. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking how many people you know, not the list that we all can pull from. I ain't trying to disrespect what you're posting. I'm saying we know that there's people that still have stake in or ownership in. That's not my point. My point is how many people do we actually know? Like our friends and direct friends and family members. We don't have people in our family doing it. We losing land that we did have because great granny died and goddamn aunties and uncles argued over the shit and ended up selling the shit. So a lot of our families lost land that way because granny died. And then we have adults that didn't know how to do anything with it because they were a part of the crack era. And they don't have the mental capacity to understand the little shit like credit, investing, and things of that nature. Not all black people are wise like that. There are some that are, but not all families have figured out the game. Like I can tell you right now, my mama don't know shit about no motherfucking credit or investing at all. Nothing.
But
No.
Sunday, you're like failing to hear what's being said, right? So when you're saying
That's just
nobody
me.
told black folks to stop building, we did that, right? And he's explaining to you that we were able to have resources when we controlled our resources, right? So you can get a loan. Like redlining is a real thing, right? We all know about that. Now you can go look it up. But either way it goes, when we were controlling our banks, when we were controlling our Wall Street, when we were controlling that stuff, we could go into a black bank and not get turned down because of our color. Where once you integrate and you don't have that anymore because the big banks are going to take over those banks and all that other stuff. So now we have to go to the people who don't like us because of our color, not our credit, not our merit, not our money, none of that, because of our color, and make it harder on us, make it more expensive for us, and make it so that we can't get this, right? And we all know it's been proven time and time again that generational wealth is what grows us. Like you just getting a house, but you're not being able to pass it down to your children and they can start with this and keep going. Like that's the issue. So it's not that black people just decided after a while to just be like, you know what? Forget this. We're just not going to be buying land. It's because we made it difficult. Way more difficult for us once they were like, you know what? They doing too good on there like that. We need to infiltrate that and make it harder for them, easier for us.
And they did that.
Well, right. You said what's stopping us from having black banks and black schools or hospitals? That would be segregation. Like, what are you saying? You're arguing to not do that. When you're arguing for integration, you're arguing to not have that there. Because if we have black banks and black schools and stuff, that would be segregating.
Yep. And we would not have to worry about them. We could go get loans. Our property would measure out differently for us because we would be able to borrow whatever we need to borrow. We would be able to fix more. We would have more solutions. And I'm talking about today. I'm telling you right now, my credit profile with a white person's credit profile, and we had the same shit on there, but some kind of way his credit higher than mine, and he's going to qualify for more. And all our shit matches across the board. Our debt to income, the job title, the year, the credit history we have, the mortgages and the auto loan, all of that matches. this white person benefits more. They can go get more from the bank. I'm going to have to step up, which means I'm going to have to show evidence, proof of my income and all these other things because I'm less believable than this white person when you go into the bank. I'm telling you this right now. And my sister is in the banking industry and works for Bank of America and has one of the toughest times because people come in there trying to borrow and get loans, and she could look at these people and say what the bank is going to do without even just hesitating. And the stipulations require just that. She's denied more black people than white. And these black people could have some type of equity. It still will require much more. Their interest rates are automatically consumed a half a point or more higher than white people. It's all kind of stipulations behind that. That's the business that they control and that they've created. That's why a lot of black people credit bad too. With all due respect. But nah, it's a good topic. Definitely is a good topic.
It's so funny because given my DNA results, but I'm such a huge black advocate.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It's like
You
that's
more,
such a passionate
black advocate
for me. That's so crazy. Yeah, it's like what? It's like from when I was, and it's because I was taught when I was young, like so it was just like, yeah, I'm definitely, you can't pull the wool over.
Nah, man, that's crazy, and that's the funny part of it all is that you more.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask that. Did they try to use when they claim like this, like how you were saying like.
Man, Kevin Watson, bro, shut the fuck up. We ain't even having that conversation. Stupid motherfucker.
Right. Yeah, like do they use like how with young people, right? Our insurance would get higher. Well, I'm not young no more,
Right,
but
premiums,
when I was young, my premium was higher because I was younger, right? Based on statistics about how you stuff like that. Versus now, when I'm older, it's significantly way lower. Because of the statistics of how older people drive.
Right. I still be driving. I just paid a $200 ticket.
Why?
It was a state trooper ticket in the city. A state trooper pulled me over in the city because I sped around an 18-wheeler that was going slow. And when I sped around him and my speed picked up, he clocked me at that speed even though I slowed down. And then I even slowed down when he got in his car to try to pursue me. I slowed down. I could have kept running, but I slowed down and just pulled over. And he thanked me for doing that because it was no chase. And he said I wasn't a problem. And I used my blinker. And he was able to see me slow down and get somewhere safe where both of us could get out the car or where he could get out the car. And this motherfucker still gave me a ticket for $200. Bastard.
It's only $200.
Nah, only $200. No. If it was Metro, I wouldn't have paid $200. I would have paid like $86. Because it was a state trooper, you pay the tickets through a different office. But all they doing is trying to run your money up anyway. They was on Briley Parkway setting up speed traps anyway. So this fool said get an Infinity. No sir, keep my Lexus. He said make police envious.
You got your car fixed?
I bought a new car.
You got a new one? Oh, okay. Yeah. I know you were saying you was either gonna buy a new one or get that one fixed.
Nah, they wasn't gonna fix it. They totaled it.
Seriously?
The motherfuckers totaled this shit.
That's all it takes?
Man, totaled the fuck out of it. Talking about $12,000 worth of damage. I'm like, where, bro? This like $6,000 job. Fix this shit. Let me move on with my life. Nope. But it's okay. I mean, it's okay. Yeah, roll power pigs.
Tarot, the Tower card.
White people are 10 times wealthier now than before integration, where they were only 7 times wealthier. That's a fact. So that's what I'm saying. This conversation has statistical data that debunks one side. That whoever argues that we better after integration, it's a clear debunking, because how, bro, when the wealth gap was less, because they wasn't getting what is the spending capital that black people got every year that they be bragging about every time tax season come around and they start preying on our capital?
Trillions. Yeah, some trillions of dollars. I forget.
Imagine that money staying in black businesses.
And we put it back into we put it back in ourselves.
How many more millionaires? How many more millionaires would we create? We would create more millionaires with that trillions of dollars if we spent it on in black. That's why, notice, during the whole pandemic and with all this other shit going on, you had some black leaders that would come out and argue to spend your money with your own. They kept saying that because they know that. That's why you got books like Powernomics, Dr. Claude Anderson, arguing in different facets of certain shit. Ooh, that would be good in this conversation to start pulling up economists and statistical data to just eliminate the whole problem. And history, because you got history, you got everything for this fucking topic. Damn, if that was me, I would be loaded down. I would have too much information. Ray, I got it. I figured it out, Ray. It is. Your problem is because it's me. If it was someone else saying what I was saying, it would be easier for you to understand it and get in agreement with it. But because you already have this bias toward me and this defense toward me from your prejudgment, it won't allow you to agree with me. And it's okay. Because, I will continue to work until you will be like, okay, I get it. Let me let go of my bias. And then he's actually okay guy. And then it's, uphill from there. She said, huh? That's what it looked like in the chat? That's what it looked like. I say something that makes sense and you be like, no. I asked a simple question. So segregation has nothing to do with living separately. Segregation is a magnitude of all of those things. What do you think would happen if your community is integrated, but your businesses are segregated? Eventually, these people that aren't doing as good as you in these neighborhoods that don't look like you are going to create problems for you because you're in an integrated neighborhood, which means you're more than likely are not going to be able to control the business to keep that dollar that you had in the community the same way. It might bounce around 2 times and then go into another person's hand that don't look like you. versus if you're in a segregated area and you spend that money in the neighborhood and it bounces around tenfold and then it doesn't leave the community. It sticks and stays. That's our problem. We have to be like the Jews. We have to create these communities inside of a larger community to where we can control that trillions of dollars of spending that we have at the beginning of every year, which would create more black millionaires and better schools, right? And more opportunities for underprivileged children. And yes, that is right, 904. We do have very limited options. We do. We definitely have that. Bro, what the fuck, bro?
So what makes you think, what do you think made presidents stop attacking things that are happening like the way they used to back in the day? Because all those things you pulled up, like it was like, you know, these things were happening, these like big things happened, and so then the president made, you know, this law. These
Right.
things, then the president made this law. Like it was like he was addressing things that were freaking happening and trying to make it better.
Yeah, so I think that's just part of what the president's job was once opportunities came around, right? That when these opportunities came around, it just forced the president to have to look at these black lead or listen to these black leaders crying about something and then having the examples illustrated all over magazines and news coverage, which supported what people were crying about. And that created a problem. So an acting or sitting president had to come up with some type of resolution that would be beneficial for both parties because his interest is still in the best interest of white supremacy. Period. The legislation that is written by the forefathers that created this land, so-called creators and founders of this land, it is to benefit their people. It is for white people. Martin Luther King said it best, right? You had all these other people building this shit, but this shit was built for white people, by black people, even by some Indians in some instances, or red people, and without being disrespectful. And so that's really where we at with that. But I just think that it just came down to that because legislation required that to occur or required that to happen. And since then, it just been what it is. What can we do about it? Nothing. Nothing we can do about it. She said we can have black stuff without all living in one place like sitting ducks. What is what's with the sitting duck thing? I think that's what's bothering me most is that you keep referring to sitting ducks. Black
Because
people
thinking segregation means us black people are going to be like, give us Florida and Georgia. And we're going to go there and all of us are going to spend money with each other and live and thrive and things like that as if we have our own little
you
country.
don't know what this fucking place will do. As a matter of fact, in history, that's what the fuck the white people was trying to do when they created the American Colonization Society. They were looking for a solution to stop black people from rioting on these farmlands. We were supposed to all be living in the state of Mississippi or Alabama or going to one of those Midwestern places. They looked at that as a viable solution, but then that still would have posed a problem. So then African leaders, black leaders, came up to them in legislation and said, no, we want to go back to Africa, speaking for a different demographic of black people who wanted to go, because you had people that opposed going back to Africa because of all the shit that was invested. So what I'm saying is the government, if you go study the American Colonization Society and what transpired in that rule in that time, it's going to tell you that these white people were looking for a state to send all our black asses to and do away with it. That was their solution. Mississippi was like number one on the list. I don't know why. I guess they don't like the terrain, but Mississippi was one of them. Let me ask you this. Is Atlanta, and I'm talking Fulton County, and even the surrounding counties to Fulton County, is that a sitting duck? That's one of the rare places in America that you can go and you can go look at businesses. You can go in and out of stores, real businesses, and you see people that look just like you. Every corner you turn. Is that a sitting duck? Wow, so how you gonna ask me to? Is Atlanta a sitting duck? Hell yeah. Hold on. He said Mississippi and Africa work for Google. Watch this. Shit. Watch this. Watch this. Let me take my shit out. Hold on, Vasa. I got you. Let me bring you up while I'm doing this, huh? What profile picture did I pick? I don't even know what fucking profile picture I picked. Oh well. Vasa, you live, bro.
I'm jumping over to my second job, but I just heard y'all talking about oh goodness, a Negro state in short. And I heard somebody mention Florida. Or I know you was talking about Mississippi, but not too many talk about General Sherman's proposal to make Florida a Negro state. So I just dropped you up. I dropped you a primary in the back before I go clock in at this next spot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was saying Mississippi, because when you read the primaries on the American Colonization Society, one of their solutions was that before you had a Paul Cuffes and all of them start mentioning Africa.
Yeah, I think that's when that idea of making Indian territory a Negro state came about too, around 1865 to 67, and they was gonna name it Lincoln. It goes right into what you're saying.
They wouldn't have cared about us being in Mississippi, because it would stop us from revolting. That's what they think was. They were trying to prevent us from revolting and shit. Fuck off this bullshit. This motherfucking computer tripping. Look, Thomas, you here. Hey, Thomas, Sutek want to rap with you about something, man. Um, He definitely want to rap with you about something. It ain't my place. I don't know what he talking about per se, but he want to rap with you about something.
All right, peace, y'all. Sean, I'm gonna jump off and get to work and let your ass go to bed. I know you're tired.
Bro, I've been up since I ain't even really go to sleep last night. I really been up for about 36 hours, 40. Every time I start getting ready to doze off, I hop back up. I'm finna show this source though, and I'm gonna see if Sute gonna show up real quick since Thomas he wanted to rap with you about something, somebody resharing a TikTok or something, and then one of your comments you made, he wanted to build with you on that. But whenever you see a conversation, you see the screen.
Where you see the screen?
Bro, hold on. You mean to tell me you can't see my screen, bro?
We can. We see it.
I'm talking about the source. Oh, there you go. I told you my computer just started acting funny. Let me scroll down. Jesus Christ. All right, there you go right there. So a Negro state, General Sherman in his speech in Indianapolis professed most kindly feeling towards the colored people and declared that he felt under special obligation to promote their welfare because his ancestors had done much to bring them into their present. Oh, this killed the elbows right here. Calamation's conditions. He does not favor their admission to the right of suffrage, however, at the present, but advocates their colonization and suggests that the state of Florida be converted into a Negro state with due representation in the Congress. Ooh. Imagine all the black people just living in Florida, bro. Boy, man, we wouldn't be able to stay in Florida. You know how much skin would be shown in Florida? Man, black people be here, bro. Then we had the HBCUs for our schools. Man, we be killing it. They gonna get us up out of that shit. They'll come up with a solution to that motherfucker quick. Straight up. Straight up.
You gonna say back up is close? It's crazy.
He said, what?
Read EIE's comment.
You ain't welcome, EIE. You gotta stay on the island, brother. My African brother. You can't come to the Negro state.
Could you imagine how many people will be wanting it? That would be so lit though. Like
It would.
people want to come through. Like people want to come through for real.
Right. White people be sneaking in, trying to get them some black wing wang. You segregated out. You segregated out. It's too many of us though. We couldn't live in Florida. Florida's not big enough because of the terrain of Florida. We would need to be somewhere like Texas, where it's so widespread. And it's 3 hour drive, maybe longer than 3 hours, 6 hour drive from one part of Texas to the other part of Texas. That's what we need. We would need something like Texas, and they ain't giving up Texas.
Was oil there?
we would turn up. We would turn up. Man, all them black people. If we ain't killing each other, we turning it up.
Mm-hmm. Especially you get our schools there, stuff like that.
Right. And nowadays, black people throwing all these pool parties and not getting in the pool, but they throwing pool parties. They're doing them every week and just charging to come in the pool party. Designated 4 hours, charge to get in the pool party. We creative, we doing whatever. Before the police come. Period.
Mm-hmm.
But nah, man, let me get the fuck on up out of here, man. It's been like a nice little conversation. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, you know, the scary dudes will show their face and we can kind of get to their business. Well, maybe not. Who knows? I don't even care. They can do whatever. I'm just gonna stick to the information and keep beating up the elbows. Even though I wasn't even doing this show about elbows, it still ended up beating them up anyway. Because I knew it was. But yeah, man, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. I'm gonna get the fuck on up out of here, man.
Adios.
I gotta get up at 7 in the morning. I gotta be at work at 7. So I gotta get up at like 5:30.
You take that long to get ready?
No, I don't. It's gonna take me 45 minutes to get to work.
Oh, I was gonna say a job that far away.
Yeah, my job.
It takes
Traffic.
3 hours to get ready.
Traffic. It's I'll be ready in 15 minutes, but then it take me 15 minutes to get to the interstate. Then when I get to the interstate, it's gonna be another 30. Yeah, so yeah. What should take 20 minutes is gonna triple up. Plus, I ain't got up this early in a long time to go to work, so I don't know what the traffic like. Even though the kids out of school, so I'd rather get there early. And then if I'm there early enough, then I can give me some Panera.
What do you get at Panera?
Nah, for breakfast food, I can get a smoothie and a muffin or something.
Do you eat eggs?
Yeah, I eat eggs. It's pescatarian style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do the pesc thing or the vegetarian. Some say call it vegetarian instead of pescatarian is just seafood. But yeah, I eat eggs every now and then. I make pies and cakes and shit. I'm gonna eat some fucking eggs.
You cook meat too, and you don't eat it, so
That's a fact.
We have a whole barbecues and shit that you're not.
I grilled yesterday, hamburgers and hot dogs, and they ain't eat none of that shit. They did. They tore that shit up, and I made like 3 packs of hot dogs, so that was like 24 hot dogs. Turkey dog. That's how it's turkey. Grilled them.
Those are better. Or they're all beef. Turkey.
And then I had beef hamburgers. They got like 3 or 4 of them left. But by the time in the morning when I wake up, it ain't gonna be none of that shit left. Because
do you ever grill your pseudo hamburgers?
Yeah, I made the pseudo hamburgers. Well, this motherfucker, fuck you. Shit, trying to land on my pseudo hamburger. You just jealous.
I am not. I would never eat one of those impossible burgers.
Trying to hate on my motherfucking
Did you ever try an impossible burger, or you don't trust it?
I got the impossibles. I didn't try them yet. I definitely didn't try them.
Okay, well, I'll leave you guys.
Yeah, all right. Be smooth, man.
Later.
All right, peace out. All right, y'all. We out, man. That's it for today, man. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Like the show, share the show, tell a friend, tell a friend. Man, good. Appreciate y'all tapping in all the way.
How the fuck y'all find an African in my fucking family, but y'all ain't find
his
y'all
own genealogy.
Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all did.
Feel like you standing on business.
Y'all lied on me, because y'all don't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information.
Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, nope. You ain't a Chickasaw, nope. You ain't a Blackfoot, nope. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping with his genealogy. Now he's a con and I ain't talking about a singer. I'm coming for the top apple leader. He ain't a teacher, he's a preacher. He can't keep up, so we leave him. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of the track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us possibly. You ain't a Cherokee, no. You ain't a Chickasaw, no. You ain't a Blackfoot. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping off his genealogy. Now he's a con. OTK, TKO. Now he's a con. OTK, you died. TKO, by your own genealogy.